start with, let's start from Rohan. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell about, your thought on the intersection of AI and design.
I'm Rohan. I head Happening Design. We are a global UX design studio. AI, for me, I think I just spoke about it today. I think there's a new relationship that we're forming between humans and products, and that's what I think right now is what AI means for me.
Relationship, it's a new relationship, it's pretty interesting perspective. How about you, Mohan?
Thank you for having me. I'm Mohan Krishnaraj. I head the global design products and studios for Cognizant. The interesting aspect of all of the conferences today is all about AI, and this conference will specifically bring human into it. So which is what we every year love to be here in UX India, which is more human. How can we talk about emotions and what designers has to do next? So it's all interesting topics. I'm pretty excited about it.
Fantastic. Aditi, over to you.
So I'm Aditi Sharma. I head research and design at AWS, and I work really closely with the CFO, so very much resonate with the idea of connecting a pixel to a dollar. And we've been running AI for the entirety of enterprise design at Amazon. My team, who's here, I'm joined there. I see them. Hi. Okay, I'm joined by them, and they've been pushing AI-first thinking across Amazon and all of its 5,000 plus products that it has, focusing on enterprise. So really excited to be here and to be joined by such an amazing panel.
Over to you, Sridhar.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sridhar Gade. I head engineering and responsible AI for Freshworks. And I've past 2 decades, I've been building internet scale products for Yahoo, Microsoft, and now at Freshworks. And the machine learning has been intriguing all through my career. And one thing I could say is ever since computer was invented, we had to invent languages to communicate with the computer. For the first time in the last 1 century, we can interact with the computer using a natural language. And then the only thing which is original is going to be UX. And I'm super excited about that.
That's amazing. Let's get into the thematic questions here. The first question which I want to start is so there is a lot of stuff going on AI. So previously we used to do interfaces for a regular thing, and now traditional design, I will call. And now we are doing design for AI. Is this anything different or it's same? What's your perspective?
Yeah, I think it is different in the sense that the core philosophy of user experience is still the same. I mean, this is a boring answer, but the core philosophy is the same. But I think where AI is coming in, or where I see most people use AI these days, is in terms of using tools to maybe be efficient or maybe create something quickly, or I don't know, with lovable, bold, maybe create a quick prototype of something. But I think it's beyond that. I think it's about what's the value add to your product with AI, and it's not just about, like I said today, slapping in a feature into your product, but is it changing how you interact with your product differently? I think that's what really
basically
matters.
What you say is the basic fundamentals are still the same, but it's all about how you interact separately. Mohan, anyone take it?
Well, I think when UX was introduced, when it became big, the challenge was make things easier for users. I don't want to struggle too much, make the learning curve less. I want to learn easily, quickly. So we had to make systems when users had to learn. Today, systems have to learn the users. So it's just typically how we call ourselves cognizant moment. It is that moment when a user is interacting with any brand or any interface. What can you deliver contextually, and how can you make it very meaningful and purposeful at that moment is where is the pinnacle of how the whole designers can look up to. So systems have to learn people now.
Anyone, Aditi?
I'll actually feed off of what Mohan said. It's changing in the sense of it's more about probabilities now. You can experiment a lot more. It's not about static workflows. You can start with the same sense of service design, understanding backstage and front stage processes, figuring out policies, things that are not really visible to AI per se. That human judgment will always be key. So I think now it's about focusing your energies on extending your skills beyond the spectrum of only design. It's about experimenting with research. It's about pushing strategy. It's about thinking proactively about policies that need to be shifted. So our role as a design community is now changing to be enablers. We've, of course, sorry to say, but engineering always has a good excuse sometimes for why certain things may not be possible. That is changing. We are bringing back power to this community, which is so needed. Research at the speed of decision making is required, and that's what AI is bringing to us. We are getting more empowered, and we'll be able to lead change much more effectively as long as you guys go out there, see, experiment, and don't be afraid to fail. The more courage you have to show the world what you've been working on. I know that makes you vulnerable, but with vulnerability comes a lot of success for ideas that other team members or folks in other disciplines may not know about. So AI is changing the role for this community, and I think it's bringing a ton of power into what we do. I think Figma also just posted this study which says 64% of the design orgs around the world have now been doing more product strategy and are also doing more front-end code development, QA, and testing. So that means our roles are expanding. So yes, we do design, but there's so much more than design.
Great, awesome. So basically what point is, which you guys need to note is, especially we are enablers and the roles are changing, get ready, and it's evolving. How about you, Sridhar?
Yeah, absolutely. I think ever since the web was invented, like say past 2 decades, the transformation of UX has been very fascinating. I could talk about it with an example. For example, Freshworks has a ticketing system, it's customer support. So traditionally, we have a bunch of menus on the top. When you actually click a ticket creation, then you are presented with 20 different fields, and then because all the data is important. In last few years, with AI first or AI native mindset, all you will have is an empty page with a text box in the center.
Empty page with a text box.
Yeah. It just says, what do you want to do today?
Okay.
And I say, hey, I would like to just create a ticket for a problem that I have. And then it says, hey, tell me more. And then that's it. Like, it will take care of everything else in the background. So the way UX is, I think, going to transform is adaptive. It's also non-discriminative in terms of, or not deterministic in a way. And you also have multi-modal inputs, like it could be video, audio, anything that a user could throw at you and then be able to look at it. So there is nothing fixed. It's all how human brain is behaving, the user. So because you in UX is user, and it's all about user at the center.
You in UX is user, amazing. All right, so let me dig down into a little bit on thematic question again. On MIT report says, most of us know that, most of you also read about the recent MIT report. It says 95% of Gen AI pilots are failing. Why is that? And how can design solve it? And how can we remove those hearts? Anyone who want to take it?
I'll jump into that because I mentioned it a little bit, and even in our discussions earlier, I think for most of us here, AI has become a buzzword, and I'm guilty of it too, right? Like, as the seasons have changed for technology, so has our approach changed. So as we think about these projects failing, what I see that's common is a lot of these orgs are treating AI as automation. And it's not automation, it's orchestration. It's really understanding behind the scenes, what is the user journey looking like, and shadowing, understanding users, of course, maintaining ethics and thinking about biases in the right way. That's where design comes in, because we bring in a lot of empathy into what we do. So as we think about why projects fail, at the end of the day, it's about us showing up as a community and thinking through the overall journey that's tied to outcomes, that's tied to goals that are important for your business, have been prioritized. for your customers and pushing that envelope further. So I'll just add to what we were just talking about in terms of that chatbot and seeing that one prompt. I think we need to go beyond that as well as we develop. The more we learn about users, the better AI solutions can get. And knowledge graphs and thinking through personalization and thinking through what's important to them. You talked about moments that matter. And I think with AI, we can really start cashing on those moments, making users efficient, but at the same time upholding ethics and upholding sustainability principles, because AI is expensive, so we have to think about where do we invest, is AI even needed, and if it is needed, how are we going to drive the most impact from it?
Do you think what is missing there? Like, do you think people are not really thinking about these aspects? Or do you see that, designer is missing in that whole game?
I think I'll tie it back to just finding that power in the role that we have to play now. So for example, I'll just throw in a project that we've been working on. We've been unifying more than 27 products, the number keeps changing, into one product called Uno. And it really started as an idea, and now it's sort of become that AI-first project that we are leading, and I can talk more about the details about Uno later. But the reason I mention that is that product has become the basis of our 3-year org vision, and that could happen because design or research, strategy, those aspects were all connected. And I call my team unicorn designers because they do their research, they do their strategy, they write documents. We write 6-pager documents at Amazon. Documentation is king, is how we see it. And we, through that data-driven storytelling, have been able to drive meaningful impact and meaningful change.
I love it, actually, calling us unicorn designers. And Sridhar, I know that, technology plays a major role on this. What's your perspective on this from a technical point of view? Because you are in and out on both sides of things.
Yeah, I have a slightly unconventional approach to this.
Okay.
Actually, we should fail more, probably should be 99%. And I'll also tell you why it is practical with AI. In the past, POC means multiple quarter effort. And then you're really praying that it should really work out, because you cannot actually turn the clock back, and then you lose a lot of budget and everything else. With the vibe coding, right, with everything that is happening with the AI, so the iterations are going to be very, very fast. So this is the time where we would like to run our ideas through multiple such the iterations, and then fail fast and fail forward, so that it's not about number of times we failed, but it's about what is the sample size you took and how we are moving forward. Slightly different way to look at it, but we are able to do that. Our POCs are not more than 1 week now, and it doesn't take.
You're just completing in 1 week.
Yes, like Monday to Friday, and then probably 1 or 2 engineers from us, and probably 1 or 2 from the vendor. But then it's all now you have Cursor and you have GitHub Copilot and everything else.
I'm curious now. Do you have a designer, or are you skipping a designer?
Designer is where we start, luckily. But then all other phases from there are actually really short-circuited. Today, how many of you use like a Lovable or a Cursor or any of the tools, right? So, perfect. I think next time when we are here, probably I should ask the question, how many don't use, right? So, it just takes like 10 minutes to create a website like Amazon, out of the box. And I think the question is can you scale or not? Those things is an engineering thing, but then creating something I think is very fast. POCs are going to be a matter of hours now.
Got it. So I'll touch base on this topic actually. I think, looks like the biggest success of AI lies in trust, correct? Because, the AI is all about trust. The machines are doing so many things which we can do. And in fact, AI is actually helping us. And definitely design plays a major role. We all know about it, right? How do you design for trust, which people love? Anyone who want to answer this?
Like this, I think typically the process, even from the projects that failed, and why it would have failed is also because trust is a very big important. And I think Aditi just subtly mentioned in the past that in her talk, that there is no more linear. Linear is dead. If we insert AI into our regular process and start injecting AI as and when it needed and overpower things, so it's not going to work. It's not going to be there is no beginning, there is no middle, there is no end to anything that we would want to do. So linear is dead clearly. So it's going to be an unconventional, very at the moment, how can you deliver the context, pretty much contextually. And I know recently, even in India, the sari bet that was happening around on the AI, you upload your picture, it'll show you in different saris and so on. It became a big issue when something personal was identified by AI and shown out to the public. So that creates a lot of scare. Who's going to take care of that? Who's going to be responsible for what's coming out in the world? Are we just here with AI to create a lot of digital waste? Or anybody can create apps. Like we'll have, imagine the size of those apps that we will have. Which one will you use? How would you want to use? Today you have so many Uber and Ola. Imagine you have 500 such aggregators that is on your apps. How do you use it? So you need a designer who's responsible, who will take care of all of this and be the gateway. What should be delivered to the human for exact emotions at what point? And if it is banking, it's pretty serious. If it is travel, it has to be jovial. So how do we know those emotions and how do we make sure we deliver those things at that moment makes a big deal.
Got it.
If I could add on to it, I think the more I work with AI, I think I look at trust as an outcome. I mean, of course, I know if you're designing with AI, trust plays an important factor in defining how the model works or functions and the output and all of that. But I think trust is an outcome of the interaction that we have with the user. And the way I look at it is not just about what we are building or what we're trying to build, but it's more than, I mean, I don't know how to put this in words. I mean, I get why projects fail, right? You maybe are not equipped to build a feature or a product that you're supposed to that will actually deliver results, right?
So do you mean like, you have control on only few things,
Yeah.
but the internal technological part or the data part which you don't
Correct.
have a
Yeah, there's a lot of
control.
factors, I think, to get to that stage, and that's why I say trust is an outcome. And the other way I look at it is, like Mohan was saying, with AI, you could just create hundreds and hundreds of apps, but what's the real point of building all of this, right? I think if you have a good enough idea or a model that is, when I say model, a business model that is, that can disrupt a market or that is new to the market, I think that's a good path to start building trust, is what I think.
Yeah, exactly. Because, what Rohan said is absolutely correct because trust is a psychological factor, right? You will stop doing things if you don't trust it, right? So that's where it plays a major role, and it's a pretty important thing where we should take care about. Sridhar?
If I could just make it a little more practical and give this audience a mechanism to think through it, right? So we've broken it down into 3 types of AI patterns, experience patterns. We think about invisible patterns. AI is working in the background. I don't know about what AI is doing, but it sends me an alert when an action is needed from me. That's proactive, definitely has to be accurate, and that's where I first take an action and I see, yep, that notification was right. Thank God I saved those dollars that were going in a variance that I couldn't catch. So now it's a notification, one, invisible. When you think about the other type of patterns, they are more embedded, where I'm just going through the experience as I'm going through my moments, as Mohan was mentioning. It throws a recommendation at me. I can choose to take it, I can choose to ignore it, I can give feedback on it. But that way, I'm also embedding AI as a part of their experience and establishing trust with the users. And then the last one is, of course, engaging with AI reactively, saying that I need this from you. I need this specific action to be completed by these groups of people, maybe if you're working at a large scale like Amazon. But as you go through these 3 frameworks of embedding and engaging and ultimately being invisible in the background, the more you show transparency, and we've established that at AWS in a way where we show data lineage. You can go to the very source of that data and how it was changed through the process and why am I showing you a number this way. So now it's embedded, but I can go deeper. And as AI is learning, as I'm interacting with it, it's also showing me its thinking, right? Like if you are experimenting, and Shri asked this question as well, like if you have been experimenting with AI, you might be seeing as Figma is thinking or Claude is thinking. It's showing you its thinking. That's explainability. That's transparency live for you. So I think there's very practical ways to connect trust as you go through AI experiences. And by constantly listening, linking, learning, through that process, you can deliver trust. Because trust can be achieved. There's practical ways to achieve trust. I know we talk about more, metaphoric aspects of trust, but there's more practical ways of thinking through
so
trust.
trust
as well.
can be designed. That's what you're
Yes,
saying.
absolutely.
All right, that's fantastic. Sridhar.
So responsible AI is very close to my heart because part of my title is also Chief Responsible AI Officer. And this is so important in this world of AI.
So what is responsible AI? Can you actually little double click and say what is
So in very
responsible
simple
AI?
terms, everything that can go wrong with AI, you detect and prevent that from happening. How many of you have watched iRobot movie or Terminator 2, Judgment Day? All right? So they all end in apocalypse, end of the world, machines taking over the world. So essentially, AGI or ASI, it's, I think we are talking about 2029 or 2031, is all about AI is becoming so smart that none of us will be able to comprehend what it is doing. Just like Aditi said, like it's a black box and it's going to be more blacker as it goes. So responsible AI is all about building guardrails around capabilities that AI is actually going to execute in the future.
Guardrails means boundaries. You
Yes,
put together all
yes.
kinds of boundaries. Okay.
So like a quick example is in Freshworks, we have something called Freddy AI Trust. Freddy is our AI branding, and Trust is our platform that we built, and it has 5 pillars. One is about privacy. It's about safeguarding customers' data. So we anonymize it, we mask it, we make sure that PI, personally identifiable data, is actually not transmitted, and it's taken care, privacy. Then the safety. Safety is all about bias, abuse, jailbreaking of the models and stuff like that. And Aditi just spoke about traceability. Hey, you answered something. Tell me how you actually came up with that answer. So I should be able to trace back to the source.
So basically, you're building a log, and you actually go and
Exactly.
see what happened,
Yes.
what AI has made a decision.
Yes. So that can build some trust in customer. Hey,
Got
this
it.
is not just making up answers, which AI does most of the times, right? And then you also have controls. And this is where UI, I think UX comes very handy, is that I give control to the customer. So they could go and actually move the sliders. I want bias detection should be much better than before. Or I'm a startup, I don't care. Or I'm a bank or a government organization, so I want it to be the extreme end. So controls. And the 5th one is the end-to-end security. So this keeps us up every weekend and every night. We continue to work on this to make it stronger and stronger as we go.
Let me double click on that. I think, you have brought some very interesting points on transparency, biases, responsibility, explainability, a lot of interesting things, So a couple of things again, right? Being an engineering leader, right? You have to deal with a lot of data. Generally AI, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you don't have good data, end of the day, how much the good design is great, it don't work, right? Couple of things in terms of, again, how do you deal with biases, errors, and bad data and all of the things in the context of design and engineering collaboration? Can you address this?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And this is a fantastic question because until AI came by, none of us worried much about the quality of data. Because who's going to consume? It's a human. And then as long as I'm going to show some charts and graphs, which people like it, I'm good with it. When we started training the models, it's like a garbage in, garbage out. The quality is purely dependent upon how well it is tagged, how well it is organized. Now we started actually backing up to the source, from the database to your event systems to ETL pipelines to all the way up to your analytics and data lake, data. Everything is actually, now we are doing the reverse engineering to actually make sure the data is clean. That's one part. And the second part is looking at the UX part of it. So as we are simplifying the UI, like I said, most of our products in the future will have just one single text box for a human to express what they need, and remaining everything, because now we are talking about agentic, I think we'll talk about that as well. They have memory, and they have opinions, and they make some decisions on their own. All that is actually driven by the data. So, and that's why our entire data engineering team is working again tirelessly to just make sure how we clean this up. And from the UX perspective, we are just making sure that more simplify you make, that accurate you should be. Because you're not giving too many options for the user. And if that is the case, then user expects that output is going to be exactly what they need. That are pretty close to what they're asking for, since you're not giving any other options. So this is a constant endeavor for us, our data engineering, and then ML and AI data scientists working together to make the output very simple, but the straightforward to the user.
Right. So Aditi, from your experience point of view, how much control you have on this data for the same thing, biases, ethics, and all that? How do you design it?
For my world, controllership becomes so important because we ladder up to the CFO. And he's always concerned about risk. Yeah. And as you think about, I think Sri said it, it's so important to get that recommendation right. We cannot afford to get in a mess where AI has hallucinated and now I'm seeing a number that's not accurate. So as he's looking at P&Ls or as big decisions are being made, what we are shifting our approach to is data explainability, absolutely, but tying that back to things that Gen AI can do pretty well, which is summarize documents, get more folks to collaborate together and to up-level what the AI is recommending. With that human-in-the-loop expertise, we've really started to push this aspect of trust further. It's, yes, invisible, embedded, and engaging, but at the end of the day, when we talk about simple UX, I think the simplicity comes from understanding the user intent or the business intent as closely as possible. So I would really like to challenge our community to level up their game on business domain knowledge. We probably don't know enough about what our customers do or maybe what products they are working on, especially for tools like fintech tools, right? Like they're so complex, I don't need to know how a P&L is formed, but guess what, we do. So the closer you are to the business, the closer you are to the priorities, come whatever technology, AI or whatever the next thing is going to be. Maybe machines will take over the world. But as we think through that process, the humanness of it all will keep us connected, keep us focused, and help us to safeguard not just ourselves, but the generations that are about to come. Because data centers today, it's predicted that by 2030, AI consumption will double. So we'll almost be consuming as much energy as Japan in a year by 2030. So you can imagine every time you want to experiment and make that POC, somebody is paying the price at the level of sustainability. Yeah. So as we think about energy consumption, this is why I think Sri said it, simplicity of what we are trying to do is so important. If you have a drop-down, let it be a drop-down. Let's not make it too complicated and have AI do that drop-down for you. Like sort of pick your battles and figure out where can AI drive the most value for you.
That's great. Actually, 2 points, guys, we should remember. One is, Aditi was talking about, is business domain is very much important because businesses operate in a certain fashion. There are so many compliances around. It operates in a certain way. If we don't learn, if we don't know, you can't really make a case. You can't really do justice to the design. You can do it. What Aditi was talking about is clear, simple design, understanding the user. Mohan, in your point of view?
I mean, from our perspective, we used to, we always have audits. Every project that goes out, you kind of audit it for different reasons, like how is the experience being delivered? Is it, are we sure from the requirement to personas to the scope that we are delivering and so on? So today the audits are more bias-oriented audits, and make sure that these audits give you reports on how are the biases being treated, how are how is it resolved, and the bugs will be mostly on these going forward. And I think those fixations is required. So that's a process we have established within our company for every project. There will be audits on this. At the same time, I don't think any company today is willing to give an indemnification based on abstraction. So it has to be an extraction. So extraction is very limited as a resource. How much can you go? Unless you go, abstraction can give you some fantastic outputs today. Those are very fancy. That's what everybody is looking at today, and that's what everybody thinks this is where we can go. But on extraction, you have very much limitations. You look at anything that is delivering which can indemnify, the quality is so bad, the design is so bad. We cannot approve of those. So these are challenges which it'll take time to overcome, but at the same time, when we overcome this, if we all have powered up from the design standpoint, what are the biases, how do we build trust, like what everyone is talking today, those will be the parameters. And most importantly, I would say from a metric standpoint, there will be in future going to be trust will be one of the major metric, and is it kind? I think even the international usability organizations have defined is it kind as their theme for the year. It's mainly because we have to make sure that whatever is getting delivered from all of you in the future will have to be kind enough.
Rohan, any point of view?
Yeah, I think I want to touch upon the data sanity aspect that we just spoke about. I think that's just a never-ending
that's true.
process, right? It can never be clean enough. It can never just be enough, right?
It's a complete ongoing stuff,
absolutely.
Right? All the time.
I mean, like literally everything else, right? I think that's a continuous process. So when we design, I think I look at it as a constraint I'm dealing with. And knowing that constraint is important because then I know what the AI is capable of, and then I know what I can deliver to my users at the end of the day. I guess, having domain expertise is good to Aditi's point, because then maybe you don't need all the 100 things that you want to deliver, right? Maybe it could just be the one thing that is good enough to get to your users quickly. And that adds a ton of value. So that's my perspective.
Awesome. Let's take a couple of questions and then I'll open up for the floor for the audience. So one thing, all of you are working on a lot of AI projects. You're experimenting. I know that AI is evolving, right? So what will be helpful for this audience, all my friends here on the floor here, is keep it short and tell us in terms of what is your AI adoption strategy and how do you boost your team's productivity with AI? Anyone to start with?
I'll probably start from the how are we doing in engineering circles people used to ask the question, will AI take away my jobs? And we keep saying that yes, AI won't take away your jobs, but people knowing AI will take away your jobs. From that point of view, even if it is an engineer knowing machine learning or not adopting AI tools. So it is a human thing, is that I think you're used to doing something for decades and then it's very difficult. The change management is getting tough. So we are, but also good thing is AI is making everything is a level playing field. Somebody who was with 20 years of experience or somebody with 2 years of experience, it all depends upon how good you are with AI. So from our perspective, every week things are changing. So be on top of what are the tooling that hyperscalers are bringing, like Microsoft, Google's, and Anthropic's, and OpenAI's. And also there are multiple smaller companies. They come and go, but they also bring in a lot of innovation. So we are looking at both of those areas, and there is a AI-assisted engineering. There's a new team formed. Their only job is to train, educate every single engineer and track the improvements in the metrics.
So what you're saying is like, no one tool is right. You keep tools keep evolving and you need to constantly look at, what's going to help for your job.
So at this point, so we have about 1,000 developers. We have about 900 cursor licenses, but we also have 900 Kiro. This is a new codex that came out of Amazon, which is really awesome, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So we are allowing that parallel budget. So we negotiate that with our CFO, and so basically he understands that I think this is a phase we are actually figuring it out. So, but then there also has to be a method to madness. You cannot have one person using like 10 tools and then end of the day you have not achieved anything. But that's why I quickly put together a governance team who understands what exactly is happening. And there's a live dashboards knowing what is the overlap and which tool is trending the top. Like for example, for foreseeable future, Kiro could be our de facto in our company. So every new hire will inherit that tool to start with.
Awesome. Aditi.
It's so interesting that you mentioned Kiro because we are really excited about Kiro. Clearly, it's working for the engineering community. And for the design community, for this group here, I'll share two very cool things that we've been working on. One is Phantom, and Phantom is essentially our enterprise design Gen AI prototyping tool. And we've been looking at common patterns across different types of usage across our enterprise work, specifically starting with our fintech and our immediate partners around us. And then thinking through this aspect of how can I start translating some of the visual cues. It's so important that we don't forget our craft. Our craft is where we actually know everything around what good design looks like, right? Like taste is needed. Like AI can show me options, but it's me who should be making that final call and pushing that final pixel. And that remains with this Gen AI prototyping tool that makes our experimentation a ton faster. And then we've been thinking about research insights at the speed of decision making. For us, high velocity, high quality decisions are everything. So accuracy, explainability, trust, advocacy for those things becomes so critical. So as you are doing research, we've also been developing a research insights repository so that as we write documents at Amazon, and we write a ton of documents at Amazon, we write about every week, maybe like a 6-pager, a 1-pager, but that pushes us to document and to really learn about expressing design in the context of business value or customer value and tying it back to metrics. So through programs like the Research Insights Repository, through the Gen AI prototyping tool, we have been on track to develop these common patterns that are saving thousands of hours for my team alone, and then beyond that, making our engineering org very effective. Through better design, we've been able to push accessibility. We've been able to reduce UX tickets that our engineers have to resolve, and that's making our coding cycles faster, that's making us more efficient, and that's also helping us earn trust with our immediate partners that are like in engineering, in product, or in our business orgs.
So anyone, Mohan, keep it short.
So quickly, our strategy has been clearly that there's machine learning, which brings the data together, and there's deep learning, which understands the user. But we have to position ourselves in the emotionally intelligent interfaces, which is more on designing for emotional integrity or designing for human integrity. That's emotional integrity will be the key for us to look at those. So we are clearly focusing on designing for emotional integrity as a strategy by ourselves.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective. Rohan.
So my focus is on being able to consistently deliver a similar experience across sectors. Maybe because I'm a studio, maybe this could be unique to my scenario, but that's what our focus is on. And the next focus is how can I scale something that's worked on, let's say, a banking platform to something in an insurance, right, for example. So that's what is our focus. And the way we have been doing that is by creating our own smaller tools, which could probably solve some of these unique cases. So I don't want to call it a suite of tools because that's too much, and I don't know if anybody would have these similar problems, but it solves a problem for me and maybe some people in my team. So we make a tool out of it. It's not expensive to create your own tool these days, so that's...
So figuring out in terms of what's going to help you to improve your productivity.
How do I take something from this team, this sector, into another team in a different sector? So that's what I'm focusing on.
Let me touch base with Sreedhar on the topic you were talking about. We're talking about autonomy, we're talking about agentic AI, agents, and all of the things. Can you touch base on it? Because I know that you're working on so many projects on autonomy. And what exactly agentic UX is all about? Agentic AI, agentic UX, whatever we call it as. What exactly it about? Can you little Could you briefly summarize about it? Your thoughts on that?
And it's a fantastic question to ask at this point. Again, I go back to movies. Matrix, Matrix agents. How many of you watched Matrix 1, Matrix 2? Yeah. Right, some hands up there. So the foundation LLM, the language model is mostly reactive. You ask a question, it comes back to you. It's called one shot. Basically, it thinks everything like, so for example, if you ask it to give you, give a 1,000-line essay, all the 1,000 lines will come in one shot.
Yeah.
It thinks in one shot and sends it. That's what an LLM can do, right? But then, that's not how humans think, right? If I have to write a book or if I write an essay, then actually I write, I rub it again, like I improve it over time, and then basically it's an iterative process. So, on contrary, though agents basically use at a foundation level LLMs only, but they keep context from what I've done in the past. They have memory, right? They also have knowledge base, right? You could actually load like RAG, and then they can actually, using the memory, they can iterate on a issue that you gave. So, and it also can make decisions based on the purpose that you gave. So LLM.
So it makes decision on behalf of humans, like users.
Yes,
That's what you're saying.
it can. It can.
It can.
Right.
Okay.
So agent, think of an agent just like a human who's learning.
Human who is learning and make decisions.
Yes.
It does our job. That's what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. It is capable of doing that, and that's why eventually, in a few years from now, there will be more AI agents than humans on the planet. Each of us might have a few agents
And
doing some
if
work.
that start doing all the design work, what are our designers going to do?
So one thing I always believe is that AI can fill the pixels on the screen, follow your commands, but giving the purpose and the creativity is a human thing.
Okay, got it.
Right? It'll always be human thing, and AI brought the compute and the technology close to the human, so you could actually interact in whatever language I want and get stuff done. It can interpret the it can do intent detection. It can have memory and all that great stuff. But end of the day, the creativity, the purpose has to be set by the humans. And I feel the journey of any product starts with design.
The purpose, intent, and the whole goal is what the key. That's
Absolutely.
what you're saying, right? So Aditi, you are working on so many projects. What's your perspective as a designer?
I'm so glad that he mentioned the word intent.
Okay.
That's
Intent
where I
engineering, all
start.
the key, right?
Yeah, that's the key. And if we can figure out how intent can be distilled, that's so important, right? Like everyone has an intent. When they show up to a meeting, maybe your boss is thinking about something else, and your financial partner, your business partner, your product partner, your engineering partner. I think design is the glue that brings it all together. So when Sri says it starts with design, yes, it does, because we drive consensus, we drive change. We are the courageous ones that we can show our work and not be afraid of feedback. How many engineers do that every day? I think this community does that. No product manager does that every day. We do that every day. So I think that's what we do with intent. If we can align on intent, start with that. As technology will come in, we will get stronger in terms of building better products that are better for customers, that are better for the business, but also better for the society and the planet overall, where we stop running in this noise of AI and this race. Instead, I think it's very, very important that we find our voice as a unified community on ethics, on things that are so critical to us and are maybe not being discussed enough.
Got it. Mohan, you have point of view?
Well, I'll just put it in three buckets. One will be, all of this is automation. A lot of it is automation. How do we augment it? And how does it get autonomous? So between the three, our role will be predominantly be played in the augmentation area, where a lot of automation can happen, and once we augment it to the human lives, exactly the context of each individual is going to use that, and then autonomous makes sense.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is figure out all the repetitive tasks and automate it, because
And
that
then
makes
make
sense.
it more autonomous. Otherwise, if that bridge is not there, then you just have a lot of, again, digital waste that's coming out.
The identification of the use case is the key. That's what Mohan is talking about. Rohan.
Yeah, sorry about the quick distraction there, but yeah, I think the way I look at, I think if we're still on the agentic topic,
Yeah.
The way I look at it is, firstly, if there is a use case, I think we should stop chasing clout when it comes to AI. Clout is a word I'm using here because words are very easily thrown around these days.
That's
and
true. It's been a lot of jargon around,
correct.
right?
So that's one key advice. I think the more we talk about it, I think you have described it 3 different ways. I think there's no 4th way I could potentially describe what agentic could potentially mean. But I think, yeah, that's my first piece of thought on this. And secondly, from my experience, I think the agentic use cases are largely hidden. Like you don't see it in front of you. Like I worked with a lot of enterprise clients where most of the jobs are very boring, like, sequencing, cleanup of data, arranging the data in a certain way. Like these are jobs that are not visible to users, but these add a lot of value to the experience that you're providing to the users. I think if you're looking at agentic specifically, I would look at maybe efficiency, maybe from a process perspective, what could be automated in a way that there is less effort needed and a lot of things can be done without too much of a human intervention.
Sure. This is super important, guys, because see, agentic is the future. We are seeing all the agents and stuff. I've been working on agents, so many agents actually. We are working on complex agent stuff. It's all about design for autonomy. What Sridhar was touch base is all about. The LLMs previously are basically, it will tell you what you ask. But when it comes to agents, these are action models. They're going to take actions. Think about that like a intern which can work. Being said, let's open to the floor and ask a couple of questions. Maybe someone can able to hand over. I'll take only 2 or 3 questions, guys. Who want to go first? Go ahead.
Hello. This is for Aditi ji. This is Sudhir.
Can you give it closer?
Yeah, okay. Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So, I'm myself Sudhir, UX manager here. So, when like very big question I just wrote. Okay. So,
Do I need AI for this? Okay.
I don't think so. From your discussion, understanding the users will give the better products, right? Products or services with the help of AI. So, as today's morning, we been started with saying that India is going to be designed. We're going to see a lot of potential. So when I see that, a lot of startups will come, a lot of localization agencies will come with the limited resources. If I'm sitting down in the Hyderabad where I'm targeting a small area or a small, what we call some people are around. So if I, as a limited budget or limited resources, if I depend upon the AI models which is generated around the world, will that AI is going to help my research models, research methodologies, what are the results coming from that AI will suitable for my localization? If yes, how it going to be? If no, what we can do better to make our localizations results to circulate or show in the international level of applications, what you guys are working on?
Great, thank you for your question. I think I'll answer it in 2 ways. And one is there's, of course, when we think about AI and the scale and the responsibility that comes with it, there is this aspect of knowledge graphs, and you were talking about that, memory graphs, where the world is moving towards personalization. AI will take decisions on your behalf. That autonomy in decision making is coming, right? So that in itself can be trained to your specific use case. Having said that, I'll go to the second one, which is a little more, I would imagine would maybe resonate with this audience, is more of the aspect of limitations exist only if we imagine them to exist. I think there is a possibility for this community to keep connected in a way where we can drive outcomes. Like, for example, I sort of mentioned the product Uno. I didn't go into too much detail, but that was something that we started as a bare, small concept in a small internal team. And we were able to scale it across Amazon, and we are on this journey of now externalizing it. The CFO will be talking about it pretty soon in global publications. So it started as a small idea 3 years ago. We sold it. We used AI as it was available. We contributed to products like Kiro, and now we are extending Kiro. So I think it's about how much power you can start pushing through your work and through documentation of artifacts and through documentation of words in a way which drives meaning for the stakeholders that you're presenting to through data-driven storytelling. We need to brush up that skill as a team overall. So I think through data-driven storytelling, using memory graphs and knowledge bases, absolutely you can start using models that already exist, but for your specific use case, keep pushing the limitations.
Okay. Well, I'll take one more final question, last question. From that side, someone can help us. One question, please, anyone? Keep it short, and let's keep the answer short also.
Hi, I'm Rishi. Thank you so much for an insightful panel, guys. That was really, really amazing. My question is for Aditi again. Super sorry for targeting. So coming to AWS, my presumption is that majority of the users might not even use the UI, right? They're using CLI, Terraform, or API. So how do you justify to the business, to the PMs, the value of design within AWS? Like, how do you make sure they buy the story of design and continue to invest in design, continue to provide a better UX experience?
Thank you for that question, Rishi. I'm so glad you asked it because that's been the journey for us for UX at FinTech specifically. And you should catch up with my team who will tell you more about the journey. But for us, it started looking like just increasing the UX to engineering ratio was something that we started to look at. We started with like 1 to 50 as a ratio, and then we were able to improve it to a 1 to 12 ratio, which is considered pretty good. According to NNG. So as we thought about that process, for us, data-driven storytelling, again, was very important. As I joined the org within 2 months, I had to write a 6-pager document, and I had to consolidate our 300-plus product feature roadmap. And then through every roadmap item, I started to look at, okay, this is where our capacity stops. So it's not so much about you are trying to push an agenda. It's about understanding the goals that your stakeholders have and then organizing your team around that. So immediate goals, getting production-ready work out there, and then in parallel pushing North Star concept. So we have been pushing all of the AI first agentic workflows across Amazon as an enterprise, and that changed, Rishi, from where we started to how we were looked at as a production unit to how now we've written the 3-year vision document for where AWS for all of its fintech products needs to be. I think that maturity came with a lot of documentation, always understanding how do I tie back my pixel to that business outcome. So that's been the journey.
That's good. All right. I know that we have so many questions and whatnot. We really love this topic. We are super passionate about. All the panelists will be here. You can catch hold of them during the breaks and ask your own questions. And before we close the panel, one piece of advice for all these designers here. There are so many young designers we saw that. What is one piece of advice based on your experiences, thinking about future, thinking about current, thinking about their careers? Can you address quickly in one single line? Start from Mohan.
Yeah, so 2 points I would like to make. One, just going back to my previous note, that is to not chase clout. I think that's first, as UX designers, you should be good at, I think, the UX aspect of it. You should understand technology, but don't try to be something that you are not. Like, don't try to be an AI expert if you are not. If you are, fantastic, but don't pretend. That's my first thing. The second thing that I would like to say, again, a callback to my talk today, is that the way things work between a product and a user are changing, and I think we should start addressing what that new change is and start designing for it.
Mohan.
Yeah, I think it's important that you stay honest to yourself and don't forget that you're designing for human beings end of the day. And AI will always have a hype cycle. It might be settling down to some level. It will automate things. It will change the way we work. But you shouldn't change the way you look at humans and the way you design in the future.
I'll just use 3 words: purpose, passion, and persistence. So if you can find your purpose, do it passionately, and keep persisting, you will have your moment.
Awesome. So I think it's time we bring human at the center of a whole UX experience, and we do it through artificial intelligence. So AI for humans.
That's really fantastic, actually. Like, so we were talking about this, right? The whole UMO, the theme is all design entrepreneurship. So one of you can able to say that, how as a community or a platform, right, we can help to achieve these goals. Any one of you? If we keep it short, we're going to conclude this. Any one of you?
Talking about the UMO?
Yeah. How can we help as a community?
I think the most important thing is create a council which has senior leaders of the industry who could orchestrate the way we could audit and make sure all of the trust and the AI is more responsible that what we would deliver.